International Workers' Day, also known as May Day, is a global holiday that is celebrated annually on May 1st Street. The day is dedicated to honoring and commemorating the contributions of workers around the world and promoting their rights and welfare. It is an important day for workers, labor unions, and other labor organizations, as it provides an opportunity to raise awareness about workers' rights and issues and to advocate for better working conditions, fair wages, and other important labor-related concerns. History of International Workers' Day. The history of International Workers' Day dates back to May 1, 1886, when labor unions in the United States organized a nationwide strike to demand an 8-hour workday. At that time, the standard workday was often 10 to 16 hours long, and workers were often required to work 6 or 7 days a week, with no overtime pay. The strike was organized by the Federation of Organized Trades and Labor Unions, FOTLU, which later became the American Federation of Labor, AFL. The strike culminated in a violent confrontation between police and workers in Chicago's Haymarket Square, which resulted in the deaths of several people, including police officers. The Haymarket incident became a turning point in the labor movement in the United States and around the world. It led to the establishment of May 1st as International Workers' Day, and it also contributed to the growth of labor unions and the adoption of laws and regulations that improved working conditions and wages for workers. In the aftermath of the Haymarket incident, several of the organizers of the strike were arrested and charged with conspiracy and murder. Although there was little evidence connecting them to the violence that occurred, 8 of the organizers were found guilty and sentenced to death. This led to protests and demonstrations around the world, with labor unions and other organizations calling for clemency and for the release of the Haymarket prisoners. International Workers' Day in the 20th century. In the early 20th century, International Workers' Day became an important holiday for the labor movement around the world. It was celebrated with rallies, marches, and demonstrations, and it provided an opportunity for workers to raise awareness about their rights and issues and to advocate for better working conditions and wages. In many countries, International Workers' Day became a public holiday, and it was celebrated with parades, speeches, and other events. In the Soviet Union, International Workers' Day was a major holiday, and it was celebrated with military parades and other demonstrations of Soviet power. During the Cold War, International Workers' Day became a contentious issue between the Soviet Union and the United States. The Soviet Union used the holiday as a way to promote communism and to criticize capitalism, while the United States saw the holiday as a threat to its own economic and political system. Despite these differences, International Workers' Day continued to be an important holiday for the labor movement around the world, and it remained a symbol of workers' rights and solidarity. International Workers' Day today. Today, International Workers' Day is still celebrated in many countries around the world. It is a public holiday in many countries, including Cuba, China, Vietnam, and several countries in Europe and Latin America. In many countries, International Workers' Day is celebrated with rallies, marches, and demonstrations, and it provides an opportunity for workers to raise awareness about their rights and issues and to advocate for better working conditions and wages. In recent years, there has been a renewed focus on workers' rights and issues, particularly in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. The pandemic has highlighted the importance of essential workers, who have often been underpaid and undervalued, and it has led to calls for better protections and benefits for workers. International Workers' Day is an important day for workers, labor,